This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at accenture.com/Spotify.
Here's your report.
Oh, thanks, Jane. I wish I could hire someone just like you.
Try LinkedIn Hiring Pro. It's more than a job board. It's like the recruiter you always wished you had. Hiring Pro uses real-time insights to match your role to LinkedIn's unique network of professionals and delivers a short list of best fit candidates. You'll spend less time sorting applicants and more time talking to the right people.
Let's do it. You're irreplaceable, Jane, but another you would be great.
Hire right the first time. Post your job for free on LinkedIn today at linkedin.com/quality.
Welcome to Holocron History, Star Wars Canon versus Legend. Join us as we take a deep dive into the lore of the Star Wars universe.
Hello and welcome to the Holocron Histories podcast, where we talk about Star Wars Canon versus Legends. I'm one of your hosts, Austin, also known as Teacup.
And I am your other host, Brandon, or also known as Ben of Temeria.
Yeah, and we're here to continue talking about the one and only, the first ever emperor, but actually not really the first emperor, because the emperor was actually first, but this one is first in the Star Wars timeline. That is Darth Tenebrae, or Vitiate.
Yes, we are talking more Vitiate, and is he vicious? Oh my gosh. See what I did there?
Yes.
Knee slapper right there.
Good job. I'm very proud of you.
But where we left off last week was Revan, of all people, were going to find the Emperor. Well, things didn't go out. Him and Malak didn't go to plan. With Revan was eventually portrayed by his own apprentice during the Jedi attempt to capture him, and Malak seized control of his empire, of their empire. While Revan's mind was wiped clean by the Jedi Council, Revan went to destroy the very empire he had created and defeated Malak aboard the Star Forge. But in the years after the war, he was plagued by memories of Dromund Kaas. Yeah, of something he remembered but also couldn't remember because of all the manipulation to his brain. He had a lot of that, sadly. So at some time, the conspirators against the Emperor began to suspect that there were a verge to be discovered. Therefore, Darth Nyrus arranged for several assassination attempts against herself in 3954 BBY as a way of framing the aged human Darth Zedrix. However, the Emperor interfered with her plans by suggesting that she would bring in outside assistance in the form of the Sith Lord Scourge. And if you played the Jedi Knight storyline, you would probably know Scourge, because he's a very well-known companion for that storyline.
Or if you have read the Revan novel.
Yes, or the Revan novel, that is true. So Nyrus led Scourge through a series of elaborate tests and deceptions as part of his investigations, culminating with Scourge's murder of Zedrix. At the point, Nyrus revealed this conspiracy to Scourge, and in order to convince him to join their cause, she took him to Nathemia. However, at the same time, Revan had been retracing his steps with the help of his ally Canderous Ordo on Rakad. Discovering the existence of the Empire and the location of Thema, Revan traveled there with the droid companion T3M4 aboard the ship the Ebon Hawk. Both Sith and Jedi arrived simultaneously, though Revan did not detect Nyrus's ship at first. The Darth Counselor and Scourge, now entirely believing in the conspiracy's cause, shot down the Ebon Hawk and captured the Jedi Master, whom Nyrus identified as Revan. Bum, bum, bum. So Revan was held in captivity by Nyrus for 4 years, tortured under the direction of Scourge, until Revan's former lieutenant Mitra Surik better known as the Jedi Exile, followed her friend's trail to Drummond Cost with T3M4 and 3950 BBY. Scourge, who had come to trust Revan during the last 4 years, decided to join forces with him and Surik to destroy the Emperor. Yeah, and then things don't go well from here. At all. So as part of their plan, Scourge approached the Emperor and exposed Nyrus' conspiracy, careful to exclude his role in the plot, so the Emperor would take action against the Dark Counselor. However, the Emperor did not act as Scourge as expected. Instead of simply eliminating the conspirators, the Emperor decided to purge the entire Dark Council.
Oh, wow.
He just wiped them out because he was done with it. So, hooray for that, I guess. I don't know. The Emperor summoned 9 members of the council, 7 of whom were loyal and 2 were conspirators, to his chambers in the Citadel and killed them. Only hours later, he dispatched the Imperial Guard to destroy the estates of the 3 remaining counselors, whom he had not expected to answer his summons on account of their treachery with the full force of the Imperial military. The 3 members of the Dark Council were caught entirely by surprise, and the Guard decimated their entire power bases as well as their power bases of the other 2 conspirators. Yeah, the Emperor was not playing games. He just had done with them all. Then, however, Revan was freed by Scourge and Shurk during the chaos, and the trio prepared to end the threat of the Emperor posed once and for all. Revan, Scourge, Shurk, and T3M4 infiltrated the Imperial Citadel and fought their way past the Imperial Guard, facing the Emperor in his throne room. Revan and his utility droid charged their enemy, causing the Emperor to blast the Jedi Master with the Force. Advancing on his opponent, the Sith attempted to dominate Revan's mind once again, but the Jedi opened himself to both light and dark sides to unleash the Force in its purest form, an attack that sent the Emperor flying backward. And this is why Revan's awesome. Yep. He can channel both at the same time. When Revan attempted to charge the distracted Emperor, the Sith unleashed a blast of Force lightning that sent him screaming to the floor and blasted T3M4 into shrapnel. When the droid attacked with his flamethrower, picking up his fallen foe's lightsaber, the Emperor attempted to kill Revan with the weapon, but was stopped when Shurk knocked it out of the Sith's hand with her own weapon. Faced by Shurk, Revan, and Scourge, the Emperor expressed his disappointment with the latter, who has suddenly overcome with visions of the future, realizing that it was not their destiny to defeat the Emperor, but it was in fact the fate of another. Scourge just chose to betray his allies by stabbing Shurk in the back and distracting Revan enough for the Emperor to blast the Jedi Master with more lightning. So yeah, your character as the Jedi Exile or Metro Shurk is dead. She came to her fate by Scourge. Testing Scourge's loyalty, the Emperor ordered him to kill Revan, but stopped him just before his lightsaber reached his mark. The Emperor decided to imprison Revan, prolonging his life indefinitely through the combination of Sith alchemy and technology, and placing him in a specialty constructed prison in the heart of the impossible-to-navigate Maelstrom Nebula. Scourge, who claimed to have deceived the 2 Jedi in order to bring them before the Emperor, was rewarded with the position of Emperor's Wrath, his personal enforcer, and the same immortality that Revan received. So, yeah, he can't die. Like, at all. Shurk's spirit survived the death of her body, however, and remained faithfully at her friend's side while the Emperor fed off Revan's strength and knowledge with the strength of Shurk lent him. Revan fought the Emperor's control, even influenced the Emperor in return, tempting the Emperor or Sith leader's desire to restart war and postponing the renewal of conflict with the Republic for almost 3 centuries. Yeah, Revan does a lot, even though he's captured indefinitely for a very long period of time. And you do storm Maelstrom, you storm the prison, and I will say that Flashpoint sucks. I hate it. Mm-hmm. It's a really good story, really Flashpoint, but like gameplay-wise, it sucks.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
So, despite Revan's influence, the Emperor's will could not be stopped, only slowed. So over the next 200 years, the Emperor advanced his plans for a new invasion. However, Revan's plot and near successful assassination attempt unsettled the Emperor immensely. As a result, the Empire's rule delved into further studies of the dark side. In his studies, the Emperor discovered a rare technique of essence transfer to preserve his physical form from harm. Using the technique to transfer his life force between bodies, he created the position of Emperor's voice, the host body of his consciousness and ultimate extension of his will. Yeah. And this is where it gets even more interesting with him, because he does a lot. He does everything that Plagueis and Sidious would love to do, that they try to do, but Vitiate actually does it. So throughout the next 3 centuries, the Emperor utilized many voices as the raving effects of the dark side took their toll on the host bodies. Those hosts varied widely, including the bodies of a young human female and an elderly Sith pureblood, but they always possessed the same emotionless, cold male voice. The Emperor's mental link with Revan also enabled the Emperor to torture the captured Force user, and both the Emperor and the Dreadmaster spent centuries attacking Revan's mind, trying to break him and turn him into the dark side once more. Revan resisted, but the stress caused his mind to fracture, and he separated himself from the pain, concentrating only on the Force. So around this time, the Emperor decided that he was tired of the galaxy as it existed and of the limits of Sith teachings and his empire placed upon him. Resolving to free himself of such restraints, Vitiate heard rumors of an ancient and unstoppable fleet of warships operated by sentient droids that had nearly wiped out all of wild space. A powerful ship known as the Gravestone purposely stopped the entire Eternal Fleet at a backwater planet called Zakul. And so Vitiate chose Zakul as the world upon which he would build a new empire, a truly eternal empire.
Dun, dun, dun!
Yeah, pretty much, right? So Vitiate then took a human male body as his new voice and went into by the name of Valkorion. Though he split his mind and energy between the Valkorion body and the numerous voices that oversaw the Sith Empire march to war, Zakul's native humans were superstitious and nihilic people who worshipped the ruthless old gods. Nihilistic. Sorry, thank you. And so Valkorion claimed to be a demon savior of Zakulian prophecy, an immortal god of gods who would topple Isaac, the ultimate devourer, and the rest of the old gods, and thus usher in a new age. Yeah, he went on a full god trope era there.
I mean, he's always kind of had that.
That's true. That is very true. I mean, he's also, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds years old, so, I mean, technically he could be a god.
Right. I think that this is a just very big power trip. Like, he becomes this god because he just wants power. He wants people to worship him. It's right up there.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. So, uniting the nomadic tribes of Zakul, Valkorion declared himself the immortal emperor of the new eternal empire and established a city amongst the swamps. He accelerated the Zakulians' technological advances. However, the city was not grand enough for Valkorion, and his rapidly grown civilization became based in the Spire, a golden metropolis that spawned outwards to the top of the old world. As the first city became known, he repurposed the 3 tribal leadership roles, Matriarch, Champion, and High Shaman, into the Knights of Zakul, an order of Force users who were considered protectors of the people and were fanatical in their devotion to their immortal emperor. Yeah. Yeah, it gets real. His history is insane. You think, Palpatine was an evil dictator of plotting stuff. No. Palpatine learned from Valkorion.
Right. I mean, he is really just kind of like the boogeyman of boogeymans. And like I
Yeah.
said, I think on our part
He's
one
John
of this,
Wick.
yeah, he is the first one that I engaged with, like that when I read about him, that I was actually afraid of.
Right. Oh yeah. And like if playing SWTOR, like the Emperor so you deal with the Emperor specifically, his body that uses that he uses the Force with to control the Sith Empire with. You deal with that in the base game of the Jedi Knight. And I was like, okay, this guy's like really powerful because at some point, spoiler alert, he actually takes control of you, the player character, and you are like working for him for like months and months straight of not knowing what to do. And then, you finally, one of your companions finally gets you to break free from his control.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, it's intense. Especially when you get to the expansions too. Because you deal with a lot of the more and more of him later on. So,
Right.
A subgroup of the Knights, the Scions of Zakul, specialize in seeing the future and were obsessed with the idea of fate. Valkorion used this to his advantage, using the Scions' force visions to find the dormant fleet. To control the fleet, he gathered Zakul's greatest minds and set them to working to build the Eternal Throne, a throne in the skyscraper that topped the spire, whose technology gave the Immortal Emperor control over the Gemini units that operated the fleet. The throne took generations to complete, finishing around 2 centuries after the Jedi Civil War, but for some reason Valkorion kept the Eternal Fleet within the Unknown Regions for the centuries that followed. Meanwhile, the Emperor's plans for war in the greater galaxy continued as he sought to use the conflict to fuel himself, as he did on Athema, the Force-sensitive Ovair family, who installed the Jedi Order at his request, giving him a family line in the Sith spies within the ranks of his enemies. Around 3756 BBY, the Emperor became aware of the tomb of Naga Shadow on the moon of Yavin 4, viewing Sato's powers as a potential threat to his planned invasion of the position of ruler of Sith. The Emperor ordered his agent, Jedi Master Beryl Ovlar, to eliminate the remnant of the Sith spirit. Ovar and his Padawan Eason Gint traveled to the moon on behalf of the Jedi Order with the purpose of ridding it of the dark side energies, but the pair were attacked on the mission by the descendants of Sato's Masasi's warriors. Yeah, and they're no joke either.
No, they really are not.
Because they're hulking beasts, I think, if I recall.
Yes, they
Am
are.
I thinking that right? Yeah, they are. Ovar eventually returned to the Republic weeks later without his Padawan, but Sato possessed Gint and resurfaced several years later in the failed attempt to kill the undercover Sith. The Jedi historian Nostrel deduced centuries later that Ovar had in fact been targeted by Sato's spirit because he was the servant of the Sith Emperor, and that the infiltrator that had used Gint to draw out eliminate Sato's spirit before the Empire invaded. With Naga Sato's spirit vanquished, the Emperor took Yavin 4 for his own and established the Imperial Guard Academy. There to guard the Temple of Sacrifice, an ancient Sith edifice that held a powerful Sith artifact. With the accompanying ritual, the artifact will allow the Emperor to absorb all life in the moon, unless it would keep it as a fail-safe plan in case the voice was slain. Spoiler alert, the voice does get slain. One of the Imperial Guardsmen who underwent the training on Yavin 4 was the hardened slave Ivan, who, underchecked murderous rage, allowed him to resist the Emperor's indoctrination process longer than any other guardsman, but his resistance caused his mind to snap. Now permanently in the Emperor's thrall, the insane Ivan became the most ruthless and devoted of the Emperor's guard. And then around the 13th century of his rule, the Emperor became the Sith Master of Exal Crash, a hybrid human Sith descendant of Ludo Crash. He had begun experiments with learning the combining different force techniques in the effort to extend his reach and sight beyond the capabilities his hand alone. During her apprenticeship, Crash was sent to a monastery on Ambria, where the Emperor experimented on her and prepared to make her a vessel for his mind. He also spent decades installing infiltrators in positions of power throughout the galaxy. Throughout all of this, Vitiate secretly maintained two voices: the human Valkorian body in the Unknown Regions, and the various bodies that served as the voice in the Sith Empire. Yeah. He does a lot.
He really does.
And it's
He just
terrifying.
kinda, like, sits around and he just does a lot.
Yeah. It's terrifying how like methodical planning he does for centuries just to get what he wants.
Yeah.
Like Palpatine was pretty methodical and was very conniving with his planning and everything, but like Valkorian / Vitiate / Tenebrae, he takes it like he takes it by the galaxy. Like holy crap. Like centuries upon 13th what was it? What'd I say? Around the turn of his 13th century of his rule. That's 1300 years that he's been ruling as an emperor.
Yep.
Y'all think Palpatine was was a strong emperor? No. He has not even close to Valkorian. Not even close. So, yeah. But at this point, let's take a quick mid-break, thank our patrons, and we'll be right back.
All right.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Listening to this podcast instead of doom scrolling? Smart move. Another smart move? Getting help from one of State Farm's 19,000 local agents when you choose to bundle home and auto. Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
If you're a QuickBooks customer looking to grow without the growing pains, you need the Intuit ERP, the AI native ERP that upgrades right from QuickBooks. Learn more at intuit.com/ERP.
All right. Welcome to the middle of the show where we take time to thank our patrons. As been said, thank you so much to all of our patrons who support us. We greatly appreciate all the support you can give us. If you would like to support us on Patreon, you can do so at patreon.com/holocronhistories. If you can't support us, another great way to support us is to leave us ratings and reviews. If you leave us some kind words and 5 stars, we will read your comment or review on the episode. Ben, do we have any to read today?
We do. We have 2 on our last episode of Favorite Least Favorite Legends content, patron chat. We have Captain Tins. Hi, Captain Tins here, or CT9910. Big fan of the Bad Batch and Clone Wars. Please do more on that, please. We'll get into more Clone Wars and Bad Batch stuff later down the road. Right now, due to a lot of Legend stuff content becoming canon and everything, and with how SWTOR is a huge thing, I'm thinking about possibly doing more SWTOR stuff. We'll see. I know I've had a few people asking me about doing a Darth Malgus episode, talking about Darth Malgus, which we haven't done yet. And fun fact, Darth Malgus has getting a lot of more merch too. Going back and working at my old place of work, found out a lot of KOTOR and SWTOR characters are getting pop figures and statues out of nowhere.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they just released 3 new KOTOR pops They did HK-47, Darth Tenebrae from KOTOR 2, and Darth Malgus from SWTOR out of nowhere. All GameStop exclusives, by the way. Go check those out. And then also, there is a new Gentle Giant is doing a new Star Wars statue, and it's Darth Malgus, and he has a removable head with the hood or without the hood. And it's really, really cool. And they're really nice statues. They're like 80. It's like $80, and they're decently sized statues too. So. But yeah, they're getting a lot of love, so that's why I'm thinking about doing more SWTOR stuff. And then also our friend Zach says the SWTOR Sith Warrior class story is literally the tragedy of Darth Baras the Wise. Yeah, because he's your master in that storyline is like huge, like size wise.
Yeah.
And at the very end, it's great because you finally take him out, as any Sith would. It was great.
That's good.
I like that storyline. The storyline was great.
Yeah. Well, thank you to all those who gave us those comments. We greatly appreciate it. The last thing you can do is come hang out with us on Discord. If you do that on the Cubs Podcasting and More Discord or the Ben and Friends Podcasting Discord server, come chat about Star Wars with us. Again, we just really try to cultivate a really positive place on the internet. And so if that's something that you're looking for, please come and join that.
Yes. All the kind words and all the kind atmosphere for Star Wars.
Exactly.
So go check those out. All in the episode description. But with that being said, let's get back into more Valkorion or Vitiate or whoever you want to call him.
All right.
What's that, bud? The Lincoln Summer Sales event is on now with exclusive offers? Oh, so you want to feel the wind pouring through the available open panoramic vista roof on a road trip? And spend the afternoon beachside hanging out on the back of the spacious Lincoln Splitgate? Okay, I'll schedule a Lincoln test drive today, right before your vet appointment. Visit your local Lincoln retailer or learn more at Lincoln.com.
This summer, say I do.
I am marrying a stranger.
Like never before.
Am I crazy?
It's a whole new Married at First Sight on Peacock.
Thank God I woke up in love.
With new experts.
My name is Dr. Lisa.
My name is Paul Brunson.
More couples.
This could be the start of a very successful marriage.
And more surprises.
Or maybe not.
Everything is just not enough.
You're a little bit crazy.
I don't know what's gonna happen.
I want my fairy tale ending.
Married at First Sight, now streaming. New episodes Thursdays, only on Peacock.
All right, we're back. And now, finally, in 3681 BBY, the Emperor announced that the Sith Empire would return to the known galaxy and launch its assault on the Republic. His miraculously calculated plans in collaboration with the Imperial military resulted in a series of victories against the Republic in the Outer Rim territories, including the successful capture of the Aparo sector following the activation of his agents in the governments of Rulia, Surapidal, and Belkaden. Some of these planets, man. As the Imperial Army and the Imperial Navy conquered planets such as Solus Van, Imperial troops massacred anyone who did not swear their loyalty to their new emperor, and the troopers of the Republic military were simply killed on sight. Yeah, he didn't take any remorse either. He had no mercy whatsoever. Though, like SWTOR in general, like the Galactic War. Cold War and the war in SWTOR is brutal. Like a lot of messed up things happened. By the third year of the Great Galactic War, as the conflict soon became known, the Emperor was advancing his plans to spread his influence throughout the galaxy. Through centuries of experimentation, he was developing a combination of mental domination and transference of his consciousness that would allow him to create his children, the ultimate agents of his will, as the children would be extensions of his mind who would only be aware of their true allegiance when allowed them to be. This also comes up again in the Jedi Knight storyline. In the depths of the Sith Academy, on the recently reclaimed Korriban, the Emperor's servants were completing the machines and rituals necessary for the process, and his servants were scouring the galaxy for young initiates. To that end, he dispatched Kresh to the ash world of Linico 4 to learn that the Orderland colonists, the colonist legend spoke of shamans who lived on through their descendants, something that was interest to the Emperor's plan for his children. Massacring the Orderland colonists on her master's order, after her mission was complete, Kresh returned to the Empire and was sent to Cathal Rift. However, the Orderland stories opened Kresh's eyes, and she realized the Emperor intended to hollow out her mind and possess her as the first of his children. Fleeing her duties and traveling to Republic space, she began to feed the Republic information and locked herself in stasis aboard the medical ship station Colony Blue above Licino, and where the Emperor could only sense her dreams. Not long after her betrayal, the Emperor witnessed a vision of the Sith Lord Nankrang emerging victorious over the Jedi in the Mid-Rim, and then personally chose the banner for the Sith Lord's forces would carry into battle. Yeah. Desiring to bring his wayward apprentice back under his control, the Emperor ordered the Dark Council retriever, the Council summoned the Sith apprentice Teneb Kel to Drummond Cos. There, Kel was brought before the Emperor, whose current voice was a young human male, and ordered to find Kresh in the Licino system. The Sith assassin Kel chased Kresh across the galaxy, encountering her aboard Licino Colony Blue, but failing to capture her until he finally killed her in the depths of the Sith Academy on Korriban, where he stopped her from destroying the Emperor's plans. Yeah, a lot of killing. After he learned why Kresh had fled the Emperor, Kel returned to the Council and demanded that he elevated to lordship in exchange for the information. The Council accepted and granted Kel to the title of Darth Thanaton, and in return they learned the existence of the children of the Emperor. In revenge for his apprentice's betrayal, the Emperor declared the very name Kresh an abomination and ordered all evidence of the family line across the Empire to be destroyed. The Kresh family was obliterated from history and the fabric of the Empire, ensuring that the relatives of the Emperor's rebellious apprentice would never rise up against him. Ouch. Like, holy crap.
He is not a good guy.
No, not at all. At the orders of the Emperor, 4 sensitive children of many species were taken from their families and entered into the special group of the Sith Academy. These children came from many different places and backgrounds. So, Bankarn was a member of the noble houses of Corellia, Agan Blassus from the core world of Aragorn, and Kira Carson was born on Drummond Cos. And if that doesn't ring a bell, go play the Jedi Knight storyline. At different points. Go on. Or you had something else?
I was going to say, the Children of the Emperor is kind of like a real messed up thing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's messed up bad. Like, I know, like, SWTOR is rated, like, T, but there's, like, some dark stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's rated T, but so is KOTOR, and you can do some messed up crap in KOTOR too.
That's a fair point. That is a very fair point. So at different points during the training, each of the children spent weeks undergoing various rituals and processes in the depths of the academy, culminating in the audience with the Emperor, where they were infused with the Emperor's strength and bound to his mind and will. Barkham became the Emperor's first son, shielding the other children from detection while also serving as on the Jedi High Council, and the children were sent out to the galaxy as the ultimate undercover agents. Unless the Emperor willed it, these children knew nothing of their connection to the Sith or even their Force sensitivity, and they became high-ranking individuals when the influence across the galaxy. Some were planetary representatives, others were members of the Republic military, and some even became members of the Jedi Order. Kira Carson escaped Imperial space before the process could be completed, and when the 10-year-old realized that the Emperor what was doing to her, though she would eventually draw the Emperor's attention during her time as a member of the Jedi Order. Yeah, it deals with you as a Jedi Knight, too. Go play it. As the war continued, the Empire scored victory after victory against the unprepared Republic, claiming worlds such as Utapau and Agamar. In their second main offensive, the Imperial captured the Sasuana sector in 3671 BBY and countered when the Republic won a resounding victory at the First Battle of Bathwali. In the heroic last stand, the Jedi Master Alice and his men in the second battle inspired the Republic to fight back against the seemingly unstoppable Imperial advance. Only years later, a Republic strike team led by Jedi Knight Jarek Kaden captured the Dread Masters, depriving him of his advisor's powerful fearing-inducing battle meditation abilities. A further blow to the Imperial War effort came when the much smaller Republic force defeated the Imperial invasion force at the Battle of Alderaan in 3667 BBY. But the Republic's resurgence was broken with the disastrous naval conflict known as the Battle of Hoth in 3665 BBY. Now, the Battle of Alderaan is actually one of the SWTOR cinematic trailers that we get. It's where Darth Malgith gets scarred from, I can't remember the trooper's name. It's Satele's husband.
Yeah, I don't remember his name either.
With the offensive going well once more, the Emperor became distracted by something else in the unknown regions. Around this time, a young knight named Senya Tyrol joined Valkorian's elite guard, and the immortal Emperor had begun to phase out humans from the Internal Empire's military in favor of droids, such as the new Sky Trooper battle droid. Tara spoke against the change, catching Valkorian's attention. Her willingness to speak her mind earned him a permanent posing to Valkorian's elite guard, and the two began a sacred affair 2 years later. They were happy for a time until Thyral bore twin sons, Arkin and Thraxon. As they grew, the two boys adored their father and were indifferent to their mother's affections, but Valkorian himself grew increasingly distant as the war against the Republic drew his attention. The Valkorian body barely acknowledged the presence of his family for weeks at a time as he concentrated his power and focus elsewhere. By 3660 BBY, the Emperor was growing restless, and the breaking of the Imperial sponsor Mandalorian blockade of the Hydean Way did nothing to help the chances of ending the war. Not long after the blockade, a resistance republic struck at Ziost, although the Empire eventually defeated the attackers in a battle lasting more than a month. The Republic assault was foiled again at the subsequent Battle of Asha-Ray, but the Republic's success at the earlier Battle of Radama angered the Emperor enough to demand that the Empire retake the world. Spurred by their lord's commands, Lords Darth Malgus and Darth Angral led Imperial forces to a costly victory in the reconquest of Radama. Yeah, and I think that was in the Deceit novel, if I'm not mistaken. As the war neared the end of the third decade, Revan's influence on the Emperor resulted in something that many Sith found surprising: plans for peace. Both the Emperor and the Dark Council were desperate for an end to the brutal war, which has dragged on forcing the Empire to strip entire worlds of their resources and peoples to fuel the Imperial war machine. Around the same time, Thurl gave birth to a daughter named Valen, but the child inherited her father's immense power. She made furniture move while she was still in the womb and tore apart droids as a toddler. Thurl was horrified when her daughter crippled a guard after dropping a ball she had tossed and went to Valkorian for help. Though distracted, Valkorian had been paying some attention to his children, and the similarities between himself and his favorite child both pleased and frightened the Sith entirely. Or Sith entity. Yeah, Valen's terrifying too. If you get to know her.
Mm-hmm.
When Thero came to him and begged him to help their daughter, Valkorian's solution was to install mental blocks that separated Valen from most of her powers and suppressed her violent and sociopathic tendencies, but also damaged her personality. Thero attempted to flee with her children, but rejected their concerns and scorned their affections, so a broken-hearted Thero rejected to service in the enforcement division. The knights on the outer fringes of the Empire, never to speak with Valkorian again. Yeah, and this is where it gets very depressing. In her absence, Valkorian remained emotionally distant from his children, teaching them his philosophy that one could achieve anything if they were willing to sacrifice, and changing their guards regularly to prevent them from becoming attached. Doing so reminded his children that while the Knights of the Zakul served his children, the Knights considered the three of them to be merely extensions of Valkorian's will. However, he later came to regret his indifference towards Thorell, considering his letting her leave to be a mistake. While some of the 7 surviving Dark Counselors wanted to continue the war, the Emperor's plans were to put in motion around 3654 BBY after they gave them consolation. Each of the 7 would receive their own star system from the Republic as part of the upcoming treaty. At the Emperor's request, the Sith Lord Darth Bargus led a delegation to approach the Republic with an offer of peace in 3653 BBY. Yet while negotiations were underway on the planet of Alderaan, an armada under Darth Angral attacked the Republic capital of Coruscant and held it captive. Using Coruscant as a bargaining chip, the Empire forced the Republic to sign the Treaty of Coruscant and end the Great Galactic War. The treaty forced the Republic to immediately withdraw all of its military forces from battlefields across the galaxy and redraw the galactic boundaries, effectively granting the Empire control of those parts of the galaxy that lay west and north of the core, as well as north of the Corellian Run. However, after the treaty's completion, the Emperor retreated back into seclusion and left the Empire under the control of the Dark Council. And then we get to the events of SWTOR, which I'm not going to go over because you can go play the events of SWTOR for free.
Yes, you can. And it's worth it. If you're curious what happens to Vitiate and Valkorian, go play the game. I still haven't finished I haven't finished the Eternal Empire expansion, so I don't know.
I finished everything with Vitiate, Valkorian, and all of them. I'm on the newer stuff that deals with Darth Malgus again, finally, and him coming back into the spotlight.
Maybe I'll go deal with it because the Knights of the Fallen Empire doesn't deal as much with like flashpoints and stuff. So maybe I'll go.
No, that's the best thing with those expansions. Well, in between the expansions, there's some flashpoints, but like when you're doing the actual expansion, there's not really flashpoints.
Right.
Because it's a chapter-based story, like any other type of like story game, which is nice. But it's an MMO; they're gonna have flashpoints. It's just their versions of dungeons. That's all it is.
Yeah.
As much as we all don't like it.
I just want another KOTOR game. That's really all I want.
I know, and God forbid when we actually get a remake or anything.
Who knows? Maybe with the release of these figures, it means something's coming, but who knows?
That's what I've been theorizing. It's like they've been like pushing out a lot of SWTOR, KOTOR stuff in the last like year. Hey Disney, is there a reason for this? Because you guys have to sign off on all this stuff. Is there a reason why there's things going on here?
I mean, they're not going to know anything or they're going to do stuff and people are going to hate it because it's Disney. So
we'll see. Don't judge it until you watch it.
Or play it.
Yeah. Anyway, with that being said, that's all I got.
All right. Well, thanks for bringing the research on this. Thank you all for listening to Holocron Histories podcast. We'll see you next time.
And may the Force be with you. Thank you for listening to Holocron Histories, Star Wars Canon vs. Legends. You can find us on the Robots Radio Discord at robotsradio.net, the Ben and Friends Podcasting Discord, and even the Cups Podcast and More Discord. You can find us on Twitter at SWHoloHistories, and even email us at holocronhistories@gmail.com.